Okay, in the previous lesson, we loaded Three.js by using a classic script and downloading the 3.js library directly from the website. This has limitations. First limitation is that it doesn't include some of the classes. The reason is very simple. It's just that there are too many classes inside this library to have them all inside one file. The file would be too heavy, and most people won't even know about those classes. So they decided to trim some of those classes out. And we need those classes. At a point, we are going to use some of these classes. The second problem is that we need to run a server to emulate a website, and it's for security reasons. We are going to use textures, and Three.js will do some work on those textures, and browser doesn't let you do those kinds of things when you just open the website by double-clicking on the file. We need to run a local server. Okay. We are going to use a bundler. There are many bundlers around, but first, what is a bundler? A bundler is a tool that you will put on your computer in which you send many types of assets like JavaScript, CSS, HTML, images, but also more advanced assets like TypeScript, Stylus, Sass, and many others. The bundler will apply modification and output a web-friendly bundle. So it will output JavaScript, CSS, HTML, images, and assets like that. It will convert the TypeScript, the Sass file, and all those kind of websites. But the bundler can do even more. The bundler can run a local server. Well, it depends on what bundler you are using, but the one we are going to use, you can run a local server, which is exactly what we need. And it can also manage dependencies. So we are going to load dependencies by using this bundler. And it can also use modules. You will see that we are going to load libraries, dependencies by using something named modules. Maybe you already know modules, which is just great, but I want to make sure that everyone understands what we are doing here. It can also improve compatibility. Yeah, like you can, it's called, I forgot the name, but you can make sure that you transpile, that's it. You can transpile your JavaScript so it can work on old browsers. So it's very useful. It can optimize the file, and it can even help you deploy your website online and many other things. So yeah, it depends on the bundler you're going to use, but the one we are going to use can do those. We're going to use Webpack, which is the title of the lesson, of this lesson. Okay, why Webpack? There are many others, and the others are probably great, but we are going to use Webpack. If you want, you can click on the link on the page. If you want to go to the Webpack website. Don't forget that on this lesson you're looking, on the page you're looking right now, you can access all the links by clicking on this little tab on the bottom right, and just click on the links. So yeah, why Webpack? First, it's very popular. This way, many of you already know how to use Webpack, which is great. Secondly, it can handle most of our needs, like local server, modules, dependencies, stuff like that. All of this will be handled by Webpack. Webpack has a good documentation, very good documentation, a big, huge community, always working on Webpack. It's well maintained. We have updates regularly. But the problem is Webpack is hard to configure. You have bundlers, you just run a few things in your terminals and it goes great. But unfortunately, Webpacks might be a little harder to configure. Even though you can have like very simple command lines to use Webpack, we need something more advanced. Do not worry. I will provide you a starter file with each lesson, okay? Which is the case of this lesson, and we are going to download it, run it, and I will explain everything you need to know, okay? And you will just have to do what we will learn on this lesson for each starter you will download for the next lesson, okay? Secondly, if you don't know Webpack, well, it's bonus. You will know the basics of Webpack. So, how to use the template? First, you need to install Node.js. So the link, as always, you can access it on the page you are looking at right now, on the small tab on the bottom right, and click on Node.js. So Node.js. Use the latest version, it can be LTS, both will be working. Use the recommended one, you can be sure you won't have any problems. If you use this one, it will be the same. The number will probably be different for you, do not worry, the template will work. Okay, just maybe download this one if you don't have Node.js. If you do have Node.js installed on your computer, maybe check if you have errors in the following parts of the lessons. Maybe it's because your version is too old. For now, just try your version. Maybe everything will be just fine. Okay, pause the video, download, install Node.js, and get back here. Cool. Once Node.js is downloaded and installed, download and unzip the starter file of this lesson. Okay, you are right now on this page. You are looking at this video. If you scroll a little, you can have the text version. Okay, that's not what I want to show you. You can have the starter pack. Okay, this is what we want to download. By the way, if you want this instruction, you can just click on this, how to use it, and you will get a pop-in, which is exactly what we are going to do right now. So let's not use that pop-in. So I download the starter. It should be in my download folder. Yeah. Each starter will have a different name, so you can just use that name and everything will be ordered. Obviously, I recommend you to have everything not in the downloads folder, not in the desktop folder. Try to organize yourself. It's your problem, but try to organize yourself. So me, I will just take the content and put it inside my exercises folder, which is, so I copy it and I put it here. Okay, it's because that's my folder structure for all this project, but you do as you like. Okay, so it's in the exercise folder in my case. Great. So how to use it? First, we need to open the terminal, and this is the part where beginners might be, whoa, what terminals? I have never used terminal. Do not worry, I will give you some tips and we will just use the basics of the terminal and you'll be fine, don't worry. You have multiple options to use the terminal. You have, if you're on Mac, you can use, sorry, wait, one moment. Yeah, it's recording. If you're on macOS, you can simply open the terminal application. So you search for terminal and you open it. So it's already open on the side. I will just show you how it might look like for you. Like this. This is a terminal. You can zoom in. Great, you can use this one. If you are on Windows, you can use the command prompt, which is fine too. Be careful, the commands are different between the command prompt of Windows and the terminal of macOS, which is a problem because I'm going to show you some commands that will probably not work for your command prompt because you are using Windows. Do not worry, I have the solution. You have Visual Studio Code terminal. It's an integrated terminal. All you have to do is view terminal, just like this. You can see the shortcut. I always recommend to learn the shortcuts to gain time. It's up to you. You can also click on view and terminal each time you want to show it. And it's hard to guess what's exactly that. I won't tell you the shortcut here because it's really depend on your OS, your keyboard, what keyboard you are using, and and many other things. So for me, it looks like Control and the tilde, which is this one. But for you, it might be different. Okay, so just try to find it if you want to use the shortcut. For Windows, I think it's Control and it's the U with the accent, I would say. This one right here. If you don't see it, it's okay. You can see it inside VS Code. So I press it, and here is the terminal. Great. So we can use that terminal. I will load this a little so we have more room. Okay, cool. So I recommend you to use this because it's great. It's inside Visual Studio Code and the commands I will show you will work whereas you are on macOS or Windows, which is great, or anything else actually. Cool. Next. First thing you have to do is navigate through this terminal to the folder you just downloaded and unzipped. So this one for me. This is my project folder. This is the starter I've downloaded. I have to move the terminal inside that folder, okay? Your terminal is always inside the folder. You have to move. There are many ways of doing it. You can do ls to show the different folders inside the current folder. If you want to know the current folder, you can write pwd. So I can see that I'm inside users tuto 3GS journey. And then I can move maybe to lessons, this folder, by writing cd lessons. I can press tab to autocomplete it. Okay, where am I? I'm inside 3GS journey, lessons. I can list the other folder inside that folder. I want to go inside 04 webpack. Well, it's taking too long. I will give you a small tips. I will give you 2 tips. The first one is to do cd. cd is to move to a directory, as you have seen just before. Space, and then you drag and drop. Don't forget the space. It won't work if you forget the space. And then you can just drag and drop from your Explorer or Finder, depending if you're on Windows or Mac, and you just drag and drop it there. See, I do it again, cd space, and I drag and drop this folder here, and I press enter, and I'm inside the right folder, as you can see, users, tuto, 3GS journey, lessons, blah, 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 blah. Always make sure that you're inside the right folder. Okay, that's the first solution. The second solution is to simply open that folder inside VS Code. You probably already know about this feature, but you can simply drag and drop the project, the website you are looking on, inside VS Code view, let's say the viewport. As you can see, the color changes. You drag and drop. The project is open inside it, so you might not have a file that open automatically. And when you open the terminal from here, so view terminal, or the shortcut if you found it, you are automatically inside that folder. So you won't have to do cd blah, 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 blah. Okay. So let's go on this. What we have to do now that we are inside the right folder, so make sure you're inside the right folder. I will hide this, type pwd, check this path. If it's the right path, go on. If not, try to find the problem. What you need to do now is run npm install. npm space install. There are shortcuts for this, obviously, but let's use the basic usage of this. What is npm? npm is let's say, a library that has been installed with Node.js. You might have seen it while installing Node.js. And npm is a dependencies handler, let's say manager. Yeah, dependencies manager. npm will download the dependencies you need for your project. We don't need to know exactly what will be downloaded. Don't worry, it will be inside that project. That won't mess up with your computer. By running npm install, it will install the dependencies I've set inside the package.json file. We won't go inside this because it's not a webpack tutorial. If you're curious, just open webpack.json. I have to show it to you, obviously. And here you can see that there are a lot of dependencies. So I've opened package.json. There is a lot of dependencies. And there is one named 3. You guessed it. This is 3GS. Cool. When we run npm install, it installs all those dependencies. And we now have 3GS inside that node modules. So if you don't have the node modules folders right now, you might have a problem. We will see the potential problem just after. So there is a lot of dependencies right now. And if you scroll to T, yeah, here it is. 3GS is right here. Cool. You don't need to go to that node modules. It was just an example. I wanted to show you that 3GS has been fetched using npm, which is great. Don't use the node module folders. Don't touch that folder. You're not supposed to. Okay, great. So what's next? What's next is very simple. You just run npm run dev. Don't forget the spaces. npm run dev. And this is a script that I've created, very simple script. It's basic, like if you watch the, if you take a look to webpack documentation, this is the kind of things you will be doing. Press enter, wait a few seconds, and you should have your browser, your default browser opening on something like this. Okay, it's a white page. Don't worry, we will change that shortly. So I will put it there. I can close this. This is a white page. If you get an error, if you get things like that, we'll talk about this later. The URL, sorry, it's very hard to say in from a French guy, is something like this. It's probably different for you. At least if you have this white page, it's fine. Great. The next time you want to start the project, so the same project, you don't have to do npm install. npm install, you just do it one time. When you get the project, you run npm install, it fetches the dependencies. You only have to run npm run dev then. Okay, so you go to sleep, you're dreaming of 3GS development, stuff like that. You wake up the next morning, you want to start coding, you open your terminal using VS Code or your any terminal you want, and you just run npm run dev, and it should start opening your browser. If the wrong browser opened, just take the URL and open it inside the right browser. So I recommend Chrome or Firefox. Both are fine. The other ones, don't use them. Actually, there are other ones that are good. It's up to you. Okay. If everything went right, good thing for you. If you have errors, let's see what we can do about those errors. First, if at any moment here inside the terminal, you get an Xcode related error, like a huge red thing telling you that Xcode is not, I don't know, I forgot about the error exactly. Do not worry, it's okay. The project might be working, even if there is this huge warning or error with color, it's okay. But if, like me, you don't like to see those kind of errors because it's pollute your terminal, you can rid of it by clicking on this article, so you can fetch it from the panel right here, to resolve Xcode error message. So I open it. This is a small article about this problem related to Xcode, so it's only on Mac. Windows, you should not have this error. And just follow the article and it should be fine, okay? Basically, you should just run this. I fixed the problem for many of my students just by running this inside the terminal. Then you will be guided through, I don't know, maybe it's an installation, something like that. It's not that huge. You don't need to install Xcode, and everything should be working fine without any error, okay? Next, if the template doesn't work, so you don't get this white page. Actually, you can open the, oh, I need to run it again, npm run dev. I will show you how to stop it very shortly. So if you don't get this white page, maybe you get an error page, or maybe you get a 404 not found page, what can you do? First, check errors inside the terminal. Just enlarge the terminal and see if there are errors that can help you. It might be information, you just read the error and maybe you will discover that, I don't know, maybe you're not in the right folder, so just check the errors. Secondly, obviously, make sure you're inside the right folder. This is a classic mistake. I do it sometimes. You think you are inside the right folder, but you are not. Let's say you open the terminal inside the right folder, but you did some manipulations with the folder, like you changed the name, you changed the position of the folder. Well, this path, the terminal is probably not inside that new folder you've made, so just Make sure you're inside the right folder. Make sure that the starter isn't corrupted. You should be having like those files, okay? If you have like a missing folder, just re-download the starter, redo the process, npm install, npm run dev, and it should be fine. Make sure you have installed a recent version of Node.js. If you have a very old version of Node.js, just update Node.js, reinstall Node.js, and it should erase the previous version. Make sure you are running, your computer is running on a local network, Wi-Fi or Ethernet. I will show you why very soon, but you need to be on any network and it should be working. And if it's still not working, what you can try is open this URL. See, when you run npm run dev, it opens inside the browser. Cool, right? I'll have it, okay, with that URL. But you can also try this one. I had some of my students that could not access their website using this URL, but they could with this one. So just test it. It will be the same result. I can show you. See, I get my white page, no error, which is fine. All right, if you still have a problem, what I can recommend you is simply go to this website, the page you're on right now, click on the Join Discord button, and use the members only Discord server. You have your own invitation code. So if you click, it should be working. If not, you can use that code inside Discord to open that server. It's a members only server. You have access to it, and I will do everything I can to help you because you deserve to have the project running. So just explain your problem and I will try to help you. And if it's not me, probably someone else will do. Okay? We won't let you down. Do not worry. Okay, let's talk a little more about Webpack because it's probably kind of blurry right now. I have a few things to tell you about this. So I configure this Webpack template. You can use Webpack in many ways, but here is how we are going to use it. First, as I told you before, you need to run npm install only once. Okay? When you get the project, you run npm install, it fetches the dependencies, and you don't need to do it every time you want to code. You have to run npm run dev each time you want to start coding. So when I wake up in the morning, I go in my terminal in the right folder and I run npm run dev. And I press enter and it should open inside my browser. Cool. Your terminal might seem stuck. See, I'm trying to do stuff, pwd, ls, and nothing is working. It's because the server is running, the local server is running right now. So the terminal is like busy, okay? What you can do to stop the server and get back your terminal is press Ctrl+C. If you are on Windows, maybe press multiple times Ctrl+C and maybe the terminal will prompt you something like, are you sure you want to quit? Press O to do it. So press O and then press enter. It's a little longer. Sorry for Windows users, but still, press Ctrl+C. I'm talking about control, not command, even on Mac. And you should get your terminal back. But obviously, your server is not running anymore. Okay, and if you want to restart the server, just run npm run dev and wait a few seconds, and it's working. Cool. One last thing about those scripts is that you can build the website, meaning that you will get the files, the bundle, this famous bundle that you will be able to put online. To do that, you can run npm run build. Okay, it's like npm run dev, but you replace dev by build. And when I do this, I just wait a few seconds. Don't care about warnings. These are fine, don't worry. And I get this dist folder, dist directory, and you can take all these contents, which are the bundle, and put them online, and you will have your website. Easy. Okay, few more things. So I will delete it because I don't need it right now. About the structure. So here are your folders and file. The working files, so the files you're going to put code inside, let's say, are inside the src folder, okay? Yeah. We have our script, we have our HTML, and we have our CSS, and it's almost empty. Let's talk about those files. First, you have to understand one thing, is that the script.js file, it's like your root file. Everything starts from here. I know there is an index.html file that should be the root of everything, of our project, but it doesn't work like this inside Webpack and most of bundlers actually. So consider it like the roots of all your code. You don't need to add this script file, this script.js file inside the HTML, as you can see here, okay? If you put like, let's say, console.log hello webpack here, you can just follow, you don't have to do it. And then you run the server, obviously, because I stopped it, so npm run dev. So it's running, cool. If you open the console, I have my hello webpack. You can ignore this, this is live reloading. I'm going to explain this a little later, just after actually. You can see that it's working. But I never added the script file inside the HTML. It will be added automatically. One of the things is that you don't have any style here. As you can see, I haven't imported the style, but still look at this. If I put body background red, look at this, I get my red background. It's because the CSS file has been imported from the script.js file. Yes, it's like this that we use Webpack and modules and stuff like that. And there is a rule inside Webpack that tells if it's a CSS file, just put the CSS inside the page, and this is why it's working. So in the end, just don't load the CSS file right from the HTML folder. It's the JavaScript job. Okay, one more thing. Maybe you've noticed it, but if I change anything, it reloads on itself. So it's auto reloading. It's live reloading. Actually. So if I put hello 3GS journey, I just save, and as you can see, hello 3GS journey, which is great. We just gain like few seconds on each project. Why not? Okay. Making mistakes. Let's forget a character, will result in an error inside the console, and you will get something like fail to compile, and sometimes you will have more information inside the page. It depends on the error you did, so you will obviously understand that you did a mistake. If I fix it, I get my page back, okay? This is kind of useful, but be careful. Some mistakes, like huge mistakes, might break the auto reload. Okay, so sometimes nothing seems to be working. The live reloading seems to not work. Just press Command R, or you can just click on refresh button like this. It should be fine. Okay, just watch this. And finally, you have a static folder located right here, where you will be able to put all the static files. And by static files, I mean assets like images, big models, htaccess file, sitemap.xml, stuff like that. You will put everything in it. We won't be using this one right now, but in later lesson we will put some texture and stuff like that here. And you can access those files by simply writing the URL. I will show you how later, okay? It's not the subject of this lesson. We will be using this static folder shortly. Cool? Oh yeah, one more great feature I can show you. You can access your local project from any other device on the same network by typing the same URL. So I'll be using this smartphone, and if I write the URL, wait for it. So what's the exact URL? Oh yeah, that's it. Up 83. And as you can see, I get this blue screen, and look at this. I will just change to red, I save. This page has changed, so on my desktop it's changed. And look at this, you have it here too, which is great. It also works with a script and everything else. So you can test easily with any devices. You can have like a PC, a Mac, a tablet, a smartphone, the TV, all running the same website from this local network, and you can test on all of these screens at once, which is just great. Up. Cool. Sorry. That being said, yeah, so now we have webpack running, we understood the basics, cool, but we still want to get our scene back, like a 3GS. We want 3GS to work inside that webpack for project. How can we do this? First, if you remember, so you can run the server, just run npm run dev if it's not running, and if it's running, you can simply close the terminal, so view terminal, and I will also, or he doesn't want to, yeah, that's it. And open the HTML file, and we will start there. If you remember from the previous lesson, the first thing we need to do is add a canvas, because we are going to draw 3GS render, so WebGL render, inside that canvas. So let's write canvas like this, and don't forget to put a class so we can get this canvas from the JavaScript. And we used WebGL. Okay, cool. As you can see, it has been reloaded. If you look inside the elements, you can see that our canvas is right here. So in the elements tab, you can see the canvas is right here, which is fine. We are done with the HTML. We don't need to add the script. We don't need to add the CSS. They will be added automatically. All right. Next things we need to do is to access the 3 variable from our script. We are going to put our script here, but if I write something like 3, I get an error. Go to the console, you can see that 3 doesn't exist. He doesn't know, it's not defined. So how do I get 3? Remember that 3GS is currently inside the node module folders in the 3 somewhere, like, yeah, there. Do not load any file directly from the node module folder. What you need to write is this: import star as 3 from 3. And this is the name of the dependency. It's not 3GS with an uppercase somewhere. It's just 3, because it's how 3GS is saved inside NPM. You can see that by the name you have right here, it's just 3. You import files at the top of your script.js file. Okay, so you import everything you need. The order is not that important. You can put the style first or the 3 first. We will load other libraries then. Sometimes the import syntax is different, but for 3GS, we'll have to write it this way. If we save and go back to our website, as you can see, I had to refresh on my own because the live reloading got stuck. So maybe you have to do it. But as you can see, I have an object right here called module. And if you open this module, you can get all the 3 classes we had before. So if I type something like perspective camera, if you remember this one, I have access to the perspective camera class using the 3 variable. If you want to rename 3, you can do it like, I don't know, like this. It also works, cool. But let's use 3 so that it matches the documentation of 3GS. Great, we are almost there. All we need to do is put back the code we wrote on the previous lesson. So you can find it at the bottom of the lesson of this page you're looking at. It's right here, but don't forget to let the style.css file and to let the import star as 3 from 3. Okay, you have to keep this if you want your website to work. We haven't much code inside the style, but we will in the next lesson. So yeah, I would simply copy it like that. It's exactly what we did previously. I refresh and I get my cube back, which looks more like a square. We are going to fix that in the next lesson. Okay, great. Let's remove this body, this red body, and we get everything just like before, but we are now using webpack, and we will be able to use more classes from 3. I will show you how later. And we have the server running, and we have live reloading and other features that we will discover later. Great. So yeah, webpack is a little hard, but it's really powerful, so use it. Just be curious, there are many other bundlers. Some are better on specific features, so just make your own opinion on that. For each lesson, you will just have to download the starter, just like we did here. So you scroll below and you download the starter. You move your terminal to the file you unzip, and you just run npm install, this one, and then npm run dev. We will do that together in the next lesson. So if you're still not comfortable with those things, don't worry, we will do it together in the next lesson.